Everyone, I'm Katherine Adrians. I'm one of the reference librarians at the Haverford Township Free Library, and this is Scams During COVID-19, Protect Yourself. Chances are you've gotten at least one call already from a number you didn't recognize today. Did you pick it up? If so, what did the person on the other end say, if it was a person at all? Many of us are so used to the phone ringing with an unfamiliar number that we barely even notice it anymore. But for those who do pick up the phone, there's a good chance that the person or robot on the other end doesn't just want to chat. According to the AARP in 2018, they projected that nearly half of all mobile calls in 2019 would be from scammers, people looking to get money or personal information from unsuspecting phone owners. But how do you tell what's a legitimate call and what's not? And what should you do if you do fall for a scam? I've got tips and tricks for those questions and more. What makes a phone scam? One of the number one ways to tell a scam from a legitimate call is an unsolicited call from an unknown number. Maybe you get some that look a lot like your own phone number. It's got the same first 3 or first 6 digits to make it look like it's coming from somewhere where you live. If you do happen to pick up the phone on those calls or others, maybe the callers are claiming to be from a government agency like the IRS, a major tech company like Google or Apple, or a charitable organization. With this, it's really important to remember that government agencies will never cold call you about something as important as an audit or a potential arrest. And even if it's real, you will have time to take care of it. It does not have to be dealt with right away on that phone call. Take the time to hang up, find the official number for the agency that the caller claims to be from, then check with them about the other claims that the caller has made. The same is true of companies like Google and Apple. They will almost always email you on the address linked to your account rather than calling you out of the blue. They might also make offers that seem too good to be true, because they probably are. These are things like prizes, free vacations, free timeshares, and things like that. They might also be automated or robocalls from businesses that you have not given permission to call you. Now, best friend. Maybe you know about it, maybe you're already registered, which is great. But if you are and you're getting robocalls or even just sales calls from businesses that you have not given permission to call you, that is illegal. And if someone is already calling you and committing that crime, there's a pretty good chance they're going to commit another crime by trying to scam you. If you register your number with the Do Not Call list, it takes some of the guesswork out of those unknown numbers. If you haven't given someone permission to call you and you don't recognize where the call is coming from, it's a good chance it's a scam. It's really quick and easy to register your number. You can do it at donotcall.gov. It doesn't cost anything. And you can check to see if you've already registered your number in the past, which will then make it even easier to say, I'm not going to pick up the phone on these unknown numbers. What are some of the signs of a scam call? Number one, they might tell you that you've won a prize, but you have to pay for it, maybe registration, shipping, something like that. Any legitimate prize will never come with fees or tax. You don't have to pay for prizes. That's what makes them a prize. They might tell you that it's a government agency who's going to arrest you or punish you in some way, an audit, something like that. They might say they're from Social Security. Real federal or other government agencies will never call and threaten you. That's just not something they do. So if you hear that on the other end, hang up. It is not real. They will almost always tell you that you have to decide right now about whatever offer that they're making you. Most legitimate businesses will give you time to think over an offer before you pay them. If they're trying to rush you into it, there's a reason for that, and it is probably a scam. They might tell you that it's best if you pay them in cash. Now, cash doesn't just mean, physical bills. It might also be gift cards, apps like Venmo or the Cash App, or prepaid cards like a Visa gift card that you would get at the store. This makes it much harder to track your money in transactions, and it makes it almost impossible to get the money back. So if they're asking you to pay them any other way than by a credit card, think twice about paying. They might claim to be a government agency asking you to confirm sensitive information like your Social Security number, your bank account, your credit card number, or something like that. It is never a good idea to give your Social Security number or other personal information to someone who is called you, not someone you've called, but someone who is called you, even if they say that they are the IRS or the Social Security Administration. If you truly believe it's them, like I said, hang up and call back on the number listed on that agency's website. You can sort it out from there. If they are robocalling you, even if you're on the Do Not Call list, like I said, that is a crime, and they are probably not above committing another crime by trying to scam you out of your money. So make sure you're on that Do Not Call list. It will make things a lot easier going forward. What kinds of scams are most common? There are a long list that come from the FTC where there's a lot of great information on scams and what to do if you think you've been scammed. So, number one is an imposter scam, which is what we've talked about most thus far. A scammer will pretend to be someone you trust. That could be a government agency or a tech company, but it could also be a loved one. And they'll tell you that there's an issue with your phone or computer, maybe even an issue with someone you care about. Debt relief and credit repair scams. Scammers will call and offer to fix your credit, your student loans, or your credit card interest rates in exchange for a fee. In reality, if you go along with one of these scams, you're far more likely to lose that money and never see it again, and to ruin what credit you do already have. Business and investment scams happen when scammers call and offer you maybe to help start your own business along with some coaching, or they guarantee big profits on an investment. This is where you need to be aware of something called the Business Opportunity Rule. That is a federal guideline that requires anyone offering you a business opportunity to also provide you with some information about that opportunity. They have to identify the seller, any past legal actions. They have to tell you if there's a cancellation or refund policy, and they have to give you proof about any earnings claims. There's a lot more information about this on the FTC's website if you'd like to check it out if you think that's something you might have heard in the past or if you just want to be aware. Next is charity scams. Scammers will pose as charitable organizations asking for donations. These charities are often requesting aid for disaster relief, and that's especially common over the phone. So if someone calls you out of the blue and asks for help with hurricane relief, be wary of that. Do your research before you commit to giving them any money. Extended car warranty scams. Someone will call you after having found out what kind of car you drive and offer you overpriced or totally worthless warranties on your car. Again, do your research, find out if there are really warranties, there are recalls on your car before you pay anyone anything. Another kind of scam is free trials. The scammer offers you a free trial for a service or a product, or a lot of free trials all at once, and then quietly bills you when you don't cancel. This is actually something that can happen even when it's not a scam. Maybe you decide to do a free trial of something like Spotify and then forget to cancel. They're not going to let you know that they're billing you in the background each month. So it's usually a good idea to set yourself some kind of reminder. If you do start a free trial of something, make sure you know when the free trial ends, when the billing will start. Maybe set a reminder on your phone, put it in your calendar, put it in your email, just so that you have some reminder of when that billing is going to start so that you are not losing money without knowing it. Loan scams happen when scammers target people with poor credit and guarantee either loans or high-interest credit cards for a fee. You might have noticed that that is a theme with these. Real lenders will never make those kinds of claims, especially if you don't have any credit, you have bad credit, or you've got a bankruptcy in your past. Prize and lottery scams happen when scammers call you to tell you that you've won a prize, but you need to pay shipping or a registration fee to claim it. Again, that they will not ask you to pay for a prize. That makes it not a prize. That is something you are buying. But once you do pay, if you are pulled into one of these scams, there's often no prize. Travel scams and timeshare scams. Scammers will promise you a free or a very low-cost vacation or timeshare, but they end up costing a lot in hidden fees. Sometimes there isn't even a vacation once you've paid. There's also timeshare resale scams. This is where scammers will target people who already own a timeshare. They'll call and tell you that they can help you sell that and might even already have a buyer if you pay them, you guessed it, a fee first. How do you make them stop? First of all, hang up the phone. Even if it sounds like a real person and you're like me and you feel bad hanging up on people, hang up the phone before they get any more information from you. A lot of scammers have access to something called a sucker list, where you're automatically added once they know you will pick up the phone and listen to what they have to say. So the less time you spend on the line, the better. You might consider a call blocking or call filtering app. This will vary depending on what kind of smartphone you have and who your provider is. So Amazon, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, they all have different apps. If you just Google your provider and call blocking or call filtering, you can find more information about how to access those. But those work by accessing a database or a list of numbers known to be spam or scams. And that way, when it comes up on your caller ID, it will say something like potential spam rather than the phone number. That way, with peace of mind, you can just let it go to voicemail. If it's really important, they will leave you a message and you can call back if you think it's an important call. And then don't trust your caller ID when it's just a number. Like I talked about, maybe you get a lot of calls that start with the same 3 or 6 digits as your own phone number. This is something called call spoofing. People calling from any number or any even computer in the world or the country can pay to make it look like the number that is calling you is close to your own. So if my number starts with 484 and I get a call from 484, it might show up that it's coming from somewhere nearby, and I might think, that could be someone I know or something important. Let it go to voicemail if you don't know the number. If it's important, they will leave you a message and you can assess it then. For a scam, there are kind of two major categories that this can fall into: if you've already paid or if you've already given out personal information. So let's go through what to do if you've paid. If you paid with a credit or a debit card, contact your bank or your credit card company right away and ask them to cancel the transaction and ask for a charge back to reverse the charges. If you paid with a gift card, a prepaid card, or a cash reload card, call the company that issued that card right away, let them know what happened, and then ask them to refund the money to you. That way, you don't have to get back in touch with the scammer. You don't have to worry about any of that. They might still have the physical card or the email with the card, but there will be no money on it. If you paid with a wire transfer, call that company and report fraud. Both Western Union and MoneyGram have complaint departments you can call directly for fraud. You can also ask them to refund the money. With wire transfers, it's a little less likely, but it's always worth a try and it's always worth asking. If you paid using a money transfer app like Venmo, the Cash App, or Zelle, contact that company and any linked bank account that you might have right away. You should contact the bank or the credit card company first if it is linked, because that way there will be no more allowed access once they know. Okay, now if you've fallen for a scam and allowed access to any accounts or your computer, for instance, if you've allowed remote access to your computer, you need to update your security system or your antivirus software and then run a scam using that program. And if it detects anything that it thinks is a threat, delete it right away and get it off your computer. If you gave your username and password, that could be for your online bank account or really for anything, even your email, you need to change your password for that account to something new and then change any other accounts that use that same password. I know I'm guilty of using passwords across accounts sometimes, which is not the most secure, so you need to make sure that anything that is using that password that you gave out is no longer using it. If you gave a scammer your social security number, visit identitytheft.gov, and there you can learn how to monitor your credit report to determine if that number is being misused. Now, most importantly, if someone calls and offers to help you get that money back, do not give them any money or information. This is a follow-up scam. They know that they've already gotten you once, and they're going to try to get you again. So please don't give them any more information or any more money. Let's talk a little bit about COVID-specific scams and how to avoid them. We're all living in uncertain and unprecedented times, and we're all looking for answers and information. But some people are going to take advantage of that, so let's be sure that we're getting good information. First of all, if you have not already gotten your stimulus check or you think maybe you're getting another one, don't answer texts, calls, or emails claiming to be about that. You might get a letter in the mail, you might notice money in your bank account once you've already gotten it, but anything unsolicited, a text, a call, or an email, you need to be very wary of and do your research before you reply and provide any information. Ignore any online offers for vaccines. There are no FDA-approved vaccines for COVID-19. So if anyone offers you online or anywhere else a vaccine, please don't do it. It is not medically proven and it could be harmful. You should also be suspicious of ads for at-home tests. Again, this is not proven. There's really only one test that's been proven, and it's not likely that is the one you're being offered online. Again, like we discussed earlier, make sure you hang up on robocalls. Right now, it is especially important because many scammers are trying to sell you things like low-priced health insurance or work-from-home schemes. Remember, these calls are illegal as long as your number is on the Do Not Call registry, so if they're calling you anyway, there's likely to be another crime being committed. Don't click on links from sources you don't recognize. This is true all the time, but especially when there's so much misinformation about this virus out there. So if you're on Facebook, even on Google, and you see a story that looks unbelievable or anything that you're not quite sure about, make sure you look at where that information is coming from before you click on it. And then finally, be careful when it comes to donating money. It's really lovely to see how many people are out there trying to find ways to help others, but scammers may be out there trying to take advantage of that, especially if they are contacting you first. So these are some of the basics of avoiding and identifying scams. If you're looking for more information, the FTC has a lot of really great resources. You can visit them at consumer.ftc.gov. They've got links to all kinds of stories about what to do if you've been scammed, how to avoid scams, and how to identify them. Thank you so much for attending our program today. We've got a lot more great ones coming your way soon, so keep an eye out for those. Thanks so much, everyone, and take care.